Hello, everyone, and I am back with a lot of news for you. Well, tonight for me, I don't know where you are in the world or in the week, but right now for me, it's Saturday night. So you won't believe it. It's like everybody's always wondering what's going on with the earth, what's all this stuff happening, this crazy weather. And I've been saying all along, hey, it's magnetic pole reversal. It's obvious to me, but then again, I grew up with a very smart family, a grandma that worked for NASA and a grandpa is a professor on my dad's side. So there was a lot of things I was able to recognize, but now it's coming out in the news. Before we get started, I want to encourage you to hit like, subscribe, definitely comment, share, please, when you can, especially probably this one, because this one will be interesting. All links are in the description box for donations, my friends' channels, my backup channel. It's all there. Anyway, you can check that out when you are ready. Are you ready to get started for now? Because I am. All right, let's do it. First article, scientists on potential flip in magnetics. Earth's magnetic field may have major consequences on climate and technology. Okay, scientists monitoring the Earth's magnetic poles suggest that a reversal of the planet's magnetic field, switching between the North and South poles, may occur. The global configuration of the Earth's magnetic field has gradually shifted over centuries and a lot in the last few years, according to the Scientific and Research Journal. Cohen, a physicist at University of Massachusetts, said minor shifts in the Earth's magnetic poles shouldn't cause alarm, but he noted that a complete reversal could have a significant impact on both global climate and modern technology. Yeah, because it can cause a pole shift, a crust roll. All right. I know flat earthers won't jibe with this, but it's true. Large scale movements of these layers create symmetrical magnetic field. It's talking about electrons and conductive layers, the earth core. But it's these symmetrical magnetic fields result in the establishment of magnetic north and south poles. The next article we have, it's just titled, Earth is Spinning Too Quickly. Clocks aren't keeping up. I don't know if anyone has had that problem, but this is it's a brief article, but it's there right after the magnetic pole reversal article. Thanks to a speed up of Earth's rotation, the length of the astronomical day and the length of the clock day aren't quite matching up. Eventually, international timekeepers may need to subtract a second. Didn't the Bible say something about time getting shorter and that if he didn't shorten the day or shorten the time that no flesh would be saved? Check that out, right? Now, you remember all the hollering that they've been doing, especially in the last live that I did, that they were very, very concerned about this 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature um, uh, rise globally, and it was like 2 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees something. Well, this article here says world predicted to break 1.5 Celsius warming limit for the first time in 2024. These are all recent articles, like in the last day or two. The article says next year could be the first where the average global surface temperature is more than 1.5 Celsius degrees warmer than the pre-industrial era, according to the forecast by UK's Met Office. For the first time, we are forecasting a reasonable chance of a year temporarily exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius. So we need to plant, and get that shade, get those canopies and drapes for those canopies because you're probably going to need them. Get your ice makers ready. They've already been saying 2024 is going to be hotter than last year. And I'm telling you, last year nearly killed me. Well, this summer, not last year, this last summer. All right. Next article, melting fire ice. And I believe they're talking about permafrost. I can be corrected on that, but it says melting fire ice unleashes deep methane from beneath the seafloor. Climate change, or magnetic pole reversal, is increasingly recognized as a critical global issue. And a recent study has shed new light on one of its less understood consequences, the release of methane from deep ocean sources. The research reveals that a frozen form of methane trapped deep in the ocean is melting and releasing the potent gas due to climate warming. Yeah, it's warming from underneath. And that's a pretty big deal. That's one of the signs of a magnetic pole reversal is the everything heating up so bad underneath your feet that it causes things like permafrost to melt, which releases methane into the air, which is terrible for the greenhouse effect, when you have like a heat dome sitting over you, right? Now, oh, it keeps going. It keeps going. Not only are they having devastating permafrost melting in the ocean, but they're having devastating coral bleaching. This article says devastating coral bleaching is expected around the world within the next year. 2024 just keeps coming up as watch out, you're not going to like it kind of year. The world's coral reefs are under threat like never before, according to a new international study led by Professor Ove of the University of Queensland. Recording record-breaking marine heat waves in 2023 will likely cause devastating mass coral bleaching and mortality worldwide over the next 1 to 2 years. Okay, I don't know how heat from last summer could affect it for the next 1 or 2 years, unless the truth is the heat's just going to get worse like they're saying it will over the next couple of years. The study's findings are alarming and underscore the urgent need for climate change mitigation to save these vital ecosystems. You know what this means? It means you're going to be growing your own food, whether you like it or not. Now, that they weren't done with water warnings. All right. The next article is titled More Than 70 Million Face Increased Threat of Sea Level Rise Worldwide, which is something I started warning about several years ago on this channel when I started telling people it was a magnetic pole reversal and that the sea levels on all the world's coasts would become a problem. And again, it keeps coming up. More than 70 million face increased threat of sea level rise worldwide. Again, all these articles in just the last 2 or 3 days. In coastal communities across the U.S., new data shows land that's home to more than 260,000 Americans is at risk of increased flooding over the next 20 years. The number of people at risk worldwide is projected to grow fivefold by the end of the century if nations continue their current course of global greenhouse gas emissions. Like, we didn't just read an article about the permafrost melting that causes problems with global greenhouse gas emissions. But of course, it's going to be our fault, right? The new information shows increased coastal flooding this century will put over 70 million people around the globe in the path of expanding floodplains because most populations live near water. That's always been a fact. Now, more in the water. Thousands, because see, this is crazy because this is what is something you don't see. This is something that you can't calculate like you can what you see on land. It's all happening underwater. And if we have this many articles, you should take notice. This article talks about thousands of tons. Thousands of tons. A ton is 2,000 pounds-ish, 2,000-ish, maybe 2,200, but just for now, we'll say 2,000 pounds for a ton, okay? They're saying thousands of tons of dead sardines wash ashore in northern Japan. And at the same time, we get, now this is crazy. The article is called Flocky Horror, Eerie Moment. Hundreds of birds drop dead from the sky after swarming over cities and chilling sign of the apocalypse. That's accurate. That was, but the news is saying sign of the apocalypse. The news. Yeah. That happened November 16th. That's an older article, but this one about Japan That happened just a couple days ago or within the last few days. Want to welcome everyone. Stop and say hello real quick. Hello, Carol, Demar, Nancy G, Umberto, Carol Shaw, Adrian, BJ, Robin, Connie Davidson. Always love seeing everybody. October Wraith, Hipsy Gypsy. Let me see. Make sure I'm not missing. Five Flames. Glad you could come tonight. Usually you're at work. Oh, it's the weekend. Maria's Moon, welcome. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody. Daryl Calhoun and Clarissa. Welcome everyone. And the Watchman, Kathleen McCarthy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, let's keep going, shall we? Thank you for the thumbs up. So if you realize under the water, there's a lot going on in all these water bodies. All right. Now, this is crazy because not only was there a bunch of fish dying, but there's an article that came out like in the last day that something else is happening around Japan that might explain some of these dead fish. Brand new volcanic island seen growing from space. A whole new island pushed to the ocean surface off the coast of Japan has been growing since its birth. The tiny island named, oh, I'm not getting this right. We're going to call it Niijima, or New Island in Japanese, popped up just off the southern shores of Iwo Jima in late October and can be seen in NASA images to have gained in size in the weeks since. A new image of the island was snapped by the ESA, or the European Space Agency's Copernicus Sentinel-2 satellite on November 27th, showing that volcanic activity beneath the Earth's crust is still bubbling away. And we wonder where the dead fish came from. The island was initially spotted by NASA and USGS satellite. Now, speaking of USGS, I'm telling you, they are not reporting all the quakes. There is no way. I'm still seeing in the news, oh, all these dozens and dozens of quakes here. You look on USGS and there will be nothing in that spot for 3 days. And it's been very active. And it's like stuff like that going on all over the world. And USGS is silent. It's much, much worse than what USGS is saying. Now, at the same time, right, we get a locust swarm in Mexico. Locust swarm Mexico skies, leaving people fearing it's the end times. Another news article. El fin del mundo. El fin means the end, like the finish. Del mundo, of the world. That's the first bullet point in this article. Scientists say locust swarms harm the livelihoods of 1 in 10 people on Earth. The skies above southeastern Mexico darkened last Tuesday afternoon as miles-long swarms of locusts flooded over Mérida, the capital of the Mexican state of Yucatan. One Latin American newspaper covering the incident quoted the book of Revelation 9:3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. But the local officials were less dire, telling reporters that the locusts were expected to finish passing through the city in about 2 days without endangering local crops. Technically known as the Central American locust, the insect is native to the region and hit Yucatan's capital from rural vegetation-rich regions to its northwest. Yucatan, famously home to the infamous Chicxulub impact crater that heralded the apocalyptic end of the dinosaurs, is located far south of the U.S.-Mexican border. All right, that happened. Okay, now they make this comment. While the American Southwest has suffered biblical waves of millions of Mormon crickets, killer bees, and other insects this past year, there's no indication that Merida's locust swarm will reach the U.S. yet. That's so heartwarming. But I mean, do you realize how many biblical references are in just this article alone? Amazing. Okay, the next article, they just keep falling right into line. It says atmosphere's condition hasn't been this poor for 14 million years, researchers find. Do y'all need me to read that again? Not for 10 years, not for 50 years. It hasn't been this poor for 14 million years, researchers find. Okay, so you wonder why Biden is tripping on refrigerators and air conditioners and oil and coal and stuff, because they know that this is more than just a temporary thing going on. This is something that is going to be what they call an extinction level event that is just builds and builds. All right. So they're going to try to do as much as they can, like throw green energy at it. Right. But because they're not honest with everyone, they get a lot of flack about it. It'd be a lot easier if they would just tell everybody, but maybe not, because there are a lot of people they can't go a day without being offended for something and upset. So I don't know. It's a hard call. But this article here, it says a team of scientists recently conducted an extensive analysis of Earth's atmosphere, finding that its current state is the worst it has been in 14 mil. According to these scientists, led by some professor at Columbia University, the Earth's atmosphere hasn't been this compromised in 14 million years. I don't know how many times they have to say that. The specific focus of this study was the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The researchers pointed out that human activities have resulted in this extremely high concentration of CO2. Of course, it's our fault. Don't worry, the rising sea levels will take care of some of that. And all those dead birds, they're not producing any more carbon dioxide. Maybe we'll catch a break, huh? I'm just kidding. Of course, we won't catch a break. But anyway, this was a time when Greenland was devoid of ice, and our ancestors were just beginning to transition from forests to grasslands. Previously, it was thought that similar conditions had occurred 3 to 5 million years ago. It's important to note that this study didn't gather any new data, but rather involved the synthesis, reevaluation, and update of information based on the current body of scientific knowledge. So above us is upset, below our feet is upset. And speaking about our feet, and one more article about what's in the water, this article is about what's in the water near the northwestern U.S. It's titled Newly Discovered Fault Line Could Cause Tsunami in Northwestern U.S. Bullet points read as such. A major earthquake originated from the fault thousands of years ago. So it's not a new fault, it's just newly discovered. Scientists who discovered it don't know when another could arrive. And around there, it's already like overdue for a big, big pop. And it says an earthquake of these magnitudes would be damaging. And the fourth one says Pacific Northwest could be decimated by a megaquake. Over 1 million Americans in the northeastern U.S. could be at risk of a tsunami due to a newly discovered fault line. Scientists have found an approximately 45-mile-long fracture in the earth that runs through British Columbia in Canada and escaped detection for thousands of years. Experts suspect that because of the layout of the fault, it could spark a large earthquake in Canada. The quake's effects could generate a tsunami in the area around the Georgia Basin, which could hit parts of Washington as well as British Columbia. The discovery was made by a team that included Nick Harrichhausen, a postdoctoral researcher at the Université Grenoble-Alpes in France. I probably butchered that. But this dude and his colleagues found that the fault's two massive rock blocks slipped against each other and generated a major earthquake several thousand years ago. And it could happen again. In fact, because of the Pacific Northwest's numerous geological fault lines, not just the newly discovered one, he encourages people to stay prepared for a possible earthquake by keeping several days worth of food, water, medicine, and supplies. And that right there should be a big red flag for the Northeast Pacific. They're trying to just say, "Oh, we just found this fault line." Well, maybe they did. But to add that they want you to go ahead and add food, water, batteries, flashlights, candles, blah blah blah. That tells me they're not just telling you about a fault line. They're telling you if you're in that area, you're really in possible danger. And because you never know when these things are going to happen, and we know that there's sea level rise, we know there's coral bleaching, we know that new islands are forming from volcanoes under there that are very, very active. That should tell you something. That should tell you. You see all of these articles in just a couple of days, and they're coming. They're coming one right after another. Things that are happening in space. I'm telling you, Earth rips everything. It is crazy. All the articles I'm starting to find on all these magnetic pole reversal signs. So I'm betting that growing crops next year should be very challenging. I'm betting. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Leave the World movie made by Obama. No, I haven't seen that one, Watchmen. I will check that out. Leave the World movie made by Obama. I will check that out. Hello, very grateful. I'm so glad you caught alive. Yes, yes, yes. We are in a very special time, October. Yes, we are. Right now, I'm just kind of doing a bucket list. You know, whenever I eat a really delicious meal, I'm like, I can say I did this. The wind's very feisty. I don't know if y'all hear things in the background. That's like my canopies and tarps just because it's very windy. There's some kind of front moving through right now. But okay, so now this last one, it's not so much about magnetic pole reversal signs as much as it is a sign of the times, because right on time with all these birth pains, we get this article. I couldn't believe the title when I saw it. Europe reaches a deal on the world's first comprehensive AI rules. Do you see where this world is headed? AI. I mean, we already knew it, but I mean, they're getting AI rules. I mean, first of all, when AI gets big enough, they will make the rules. That's always so funny. You know, you think you control the demon when the demon is really controlling you. Anyway, this is out of London. European Union negotiators clinched a deal on Friday on the world's first comprehensive artificial intelligence rules, paving the way for legal oversight of AI technology that has promised to transform, oh, so many promises, to transform everyday life and spurred warnings of existential dangers to humanity. Negotiators from the European Parliament and the bloc's 27 member countries overcame big differences on controversial points, including generative AI and police use of face recognition surveillance, to sign a tentative political agreement for AI, the Artificial Intelligence Act. Can you believe that? That we've gotten to that point in history that we have an Artificial Intelligence Act? Deal, tweeted European Commissioner Thierry Breton. I don't know this person's name. Just before midnight. You know what? I was watching Twilight Zone the other night, and I wrote down the quote. Hold on a second. This just totally reminds me of it. Because we always talk about the midnight hour. But this person, it's just a few lines, was talking not just about the midnight hour, but what happens after we get past the midnight hour. Just listen. When twilight and dawn are equally balanced, one no stronger than the other, each pulling against each other in the opposite direction, so that the very fabric of the night will be torn apart. Midnight, when the monsters come out. Internet, the midnight hour. Anyway, yeah, so they reached this deal just before midnight, and the EU becomes the very first continent to set clear rules for the use of AI. So the result came after a marathon closed door talks this week, with the initial session lasting 22 hours. I would not have lasted at that meeting. Officials were under the gun to secure a political victory for the flagship legislation. Civil society groups, however, gave it a cool reception as they wait for technical details that will need to be ironed out in the coming weeks. That's scary to me. That's scary to me. I mean, it's not like we weren't expecting it, but like you just see all the dominoes just line up, line up, line up, line up, line up. And it's getting massive. It's getting us the picture that the Bible was painted by God. It's just perfect. To the last detail, to the smallest detail, the Bible's been right. And we do see it coming. That's what I was taught in church, that Christians, people would see it coming in the last days, that they would know. And that's really where we are. I mean, you can't miss it if you've paid any attention in church, any attention to what you've read. Yeah, that movie, Leave the World. I want to type that in super fast. That way I don't forget with my amnesia, short term memory issues. That's how I leave myself notes so I remember. It's called The World Behind, Leave the World Behind. Okay, we'll find out more. I think I see it. Hello, Stargate. Good to see you. Mr. Woods. Yes, definitely Woods. And wins, Mr. Woods. Ancient Apocalypse. I'll check that out too. I appreciate it. All right. Well, the way the news has been coming out lately, I might see y'all as early as tomorrow. But for now, I think we've pretty much covered everything. There was like a lot of articles. I did not think I'd get it done in under 30 minutes. But we did. We did. We did it. Because I don't want to keep y'all all night. You know, I want y'all to be able to relax and chill. But I did want to come in and say hi and say, just relax. It's going to be okay for now. But be aware. At least have your eyes open, especially if you're within 100 miles of a coastline, which most people are. Anywho, where none of us are promised tomorrow, appreciate today. Choose to love others. Choose to do all those things that you knew that you were supposed to do in life and, with your purpose. And a lot of that is how you treat others. I think it's a lot easier to stop worrying about yourself when you start worrying about others. Caretakers are good at that to a fault. They do it to such a fault that they almost just can't allow anybody to take care of them. But I think that a lot of people could do with a more of a nurse mentality. It really takes you out of your depressive states. It keeps your mind on something that won't drive you into total lunacy by worrying too much. Because I know the news I bring you isn't always sunshine and rainbows, but I believe that it's better for us to learn to self-soothe, to learn to come to terms with things instead of just sliding things under the door and everything. I don't want anybody panicking. Yes, I want you to relax while we have every chance. Enjoy the good moments because they're not always going to be there. So cherish those people around you. And, if you have any prayer requests, please say those now. I have a friend. He's in New York, and he's a man who seems to be in some medical distress. All these are homeless people. He was observed on his knees by the stairs, holding on to the rails, saliva coming out of his mouth. There's another person named Cheyenne who is a disabled homeless man, Native American, Puerto Rican, who uses a walker to get around. So I lift these two people up in prayer and ask that you come with me in agreement for these people, and also for the man who's going around helping them, that he just continues to be blessed and sent by the Lord and that he has everything he needs to help, even the words in his mouth. In Jesus' name. Yes, it takes special people like that to go out on their own, walk out their house and bring Bibles and bring that word of God and bring them that love. And they may not have anything else, but they're going to go out there and give what they have. And this is what we need to do with the time we have. You know, there's only so much we can do to prepare our house, but there's a lot of people out there that don't even know where to begin. And you'd be surprised that just because somebody is older in those years doesn't mean that they've made peace with God yet, you know. So don't be afraid to talk to anybody about God, about Jesus, because he's going to save our souls. You see, we weren't meant to live forever. We're not. Time here on earth is temporary, so he's not going to save your life here, but the life that counts, that's forever, everlasting, forevermore, our eternal life, he'll save us there. And I've had a peek on the other side more than once. And I tell you, it's worth a try. It's worth a shot. It's worth the effort of opening yourself up and making peace and forgiving and going out there and trying to help others. It really is. All right. All right. Everybody, Veronica, mwah, love you, sister. And I wanted to call you. I've just been busy. I'm going to call you tomorrow if you don't mind. All right, everybody. Kay, Janet, everyone. I love you guys. God bless you all. And I promise I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.